A man standing over 1.80 meters tall walks onto the pitch. His face is expressionless, almost bored. Then the ball reaches him, and in less than a second, he turns the football field into a crime scene. The internet gave him a name, not striker, not forward, the Viking. But there's one question almost nobody asks. Is it just a nickname, or is there something real behind it? Today we're gonna find out what truly made a Viking, and whether one of the world's most terrifying goal scorers has actually earned that title, or if he only earned the haircut. First, let's clear up one of the biggest myths. Vikings did not wear horned helmets. That image didn't come from real Scandinavian warriors. It came from 19th century opera costumes. Real Viking helmets were simple, practical, and built for surviving the battlefield, not for looking impressive in a painting. So what actually defined a Viking? Three things: their origins, their physical traits, and their reputation. Vikings came from Scandinavia, modern-day Norway, Sweden, and Denmark. And between the 8th and 11th centuries, they became famous for two seemingly opposite things at the same time: their ruthless raids across Europe and their remarkably advanced exploration. These were people who crossed the open ocean in wooden ships centuries before GPS, steel-hulled vessels, or an era when almost no one else dared to venture that far. But violence alone wasn't what made them so feared. It was their unpredictability. Vikings could appear without warning, strike with incredible speed, and disappear before anyone had time to organize a defense. Speed, timing, zero warning. Sound familiar? Erling Haaland was born in Leeds, England, but his blood, his name, and his upbringing belonged to Norway. His father was a professional Premier League footballer, and his uncle became a well-known Norwegian coach. Growing up, Haaland wasn't trained only as a footballer. He was developed as an all-around athlete. In his early years, he even competed in the long jump, where he is widely reported to have set a national record for his age group. That detail is more important than it seems. Long jump isn't about being big, it's about explosive power, the ability to convert stored energy into a single violent burst of movement. And that just happens to be the exact skill that makes Haaland a nightmare for defenders. Standing 1.93 meters tall and built as if he were engineered in a laboratory specifically to destroy offside traps, Haaland doesn't play like a typical Norwegian striker. He plays like a weapon system. Here's where things get interesting. Sports scientists have measured Erling Haaland's sprint speed at over 36 kilometers per hour, around 22 miles per hour. That's exceptionally fast for a footballer. While direct comparisons with Olympic sprinters are difficult because football sprints are shorter and involve constant changes of direction, the number is still remarkable. Now combine that speed with his size. Newton's second law tells us that force equals mass times acceleration. A heavier body moving at high speed carries considerably more momentum than a lighter one traveling at the same speed. Put simply, when Haaland accelerates, he isn't just fast. He brings a level of physical force that most forwards his size simply shouldn't possess. That's why defenders often don't merely get beaten by him, they get displaced. Facing Haaland can feel less like losing control of a game and more like trying to stand in front of something already rolling downhill. The Vikings were feared not because they were necessarily Europe's most skilled warriors, but because they combined power with surprise. Haaland does something similar on a football pitch. Instead of a battle axe, he delivers a ruthless first-time finish from an angle that seems impossible. So, is Haaland actually a Viking? Historically, no. He's not a raider, a seafarer, or a 9th century warrior. He was born in Leeds and grew up idolizing football, not military tactics. But symbolically, that's where the nickname makes sense. It isn't really about history, it's about the archetype. Humans have always used ancient myths to describe modern phenomena we struggle to explain. We call a hurricane a monster. We call a genius a wizard. And when an athlete seems built to dominate, appearing out of nowhere, striking without warning, and tearing through defenses, we call him a Viking. It's not a historical claim. It's a compliment written in the language of mythology because ordinary words simply don't feel big enough. Maybe that's the real answer. We don't call him a Viking because he sailed longships or raided villages. We call him a Viking because some athletes exist so far beyond the ordinary limits of their sport that we have to reach deep into history to find a word big enough to describe them. Haaland isn't a Viking because of where he comes from. We call him a Viking because of what happens the moment the ball touches his feet.